Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
In a world riddled with toxicity, one man will emerge to prove himself to be truly anti-fragile.
Wait a minute. Why is everybody looking at me? Am I that bad?
Yes, this man will prove his anti-fragility by truly pulling off one of the most death-defying stunts ever seen.
Wait a minute. You want me to jump this cliff? I don't think this is what Nassim Taleb meant when he wrote Anti-Fragile.
Unfortunately, he did. Stay tuned next time for the dramatic conclusion to this week's episode.
Saved by the bell. Thank God. Wait, next episode?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Living Artist Podcast. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully your week's going well. I just wanted to check in today and talk a little bit about resilience and becoming anti-fragile with everything you do. And yes, that first part was a nod to Nassim Taleb's book, Anti-Fragile. This is kind of a finance book, but it can be applied to life. And really, when you think about it, it's one of those things we've talked about in general and that exists in the health and wellness community too, of like a hormetic stress, how hormetic stresses can actually be good for the body because they make you more resilient and you learn something from them. So that's kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about being anti-fragile in this context. And why is this important? Well, you might have heard me singing Yellow Submarine at the beginning. I just got off 3 sessions of going 20,000 leagues under the sea in a miniature submarine. Well, not really, but I was doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy for my pain and my Lyme and my autoimmune issues that I've been working through. And why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing all these biohacking and certain technologies and therapies and stuff like this? I'm not doing it just to throw my money away because I've looked for the best deals I could get, but it is expensive to do these things, to do these therapies. I'm doing it because I want to be as healthy and energy efficient as possible as an artist. And I want to be as resilient as I possibly can. I basically had to rebuild my entire body and mind and hormones and everything from the ground up over the last 3.5 years. And it's taken a long time to get there, but I'm trying to get myself back to a place where I can function at my best. And I'm doing that so I can heal and so I can become more resilient, not so I can live and manage a state of chronic pain for the rest of my life. No. I am very determined to get over this and to be 100% and get back to that. Some people say it's not possible. Well, I don't believe that. And I listen to enough health and wellness and biohacking podcasts to know that you can heal yourself from anything. So that's what I've been trying to do. Now, why am I talking so much about my own circumstances and my own issues? Because I want you to take that and I want you to apply it to your life and to your art. How are you being held back by something in your life? Maybe it's as simple as I'm having low energy, or, I'm not motivated, or I find myself having creative blocks, or, I just can't get out of bed in the morning, or like I have a hard time making artist friends or making connections or whatever it is. It can be so many things. It can be a myriad of issues. And I think getting to that next level as artists, we have to be aware of where our weaknesses are. Mine is obvious just because it's been debilitating and it's kept me from doing anything. Part of my life and my work and my relationships have fallen apart in this process, and I've been having to rebuild all that. So mine's obvious. It wasn't always obvious in the past. I knew other things that I had to do and had to work on, but sometimes it's not that obvious. It's not like, oh my God, I have to fix my entire body and mind and anxiety levels and hormones and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's less obvious. Sometimes it's just a small thing that you really can't see on the surface that might be holding you back. It's just a little tweak that you need to work on, or a block that you need to take out of the way. It's like the obstacle is the way, right? You have to find that obstacle and work your way through it or around it or over it, or, make your peace with it, right? That's something that we all need to do. So first step is obviously identifying that. If you can't identify it on your own, then I would say talk to some of your friends, talk to your peers, talk to a therapist, talk to somebody who's like an objective perspective, or who has an objective perspective and can tell you, oh, you know what? I've noticed that you do this, or I notice you have this pattern, or I notice you're doing really well and you keep like sabotaging yourself in this way. Once you find that, then you can go about working on removing it or working through it, or starting a new neural pathway or a new pattern, or becoming more resilient.
Oh, you scared me.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Oh, I guess that's true. I do feel angry. And I start to feel like I'm suffering too. But how do I get rid of it?
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
Okay, but I'm not sure I understand still, but I guess I'll try.
No. Do or do not. There is no try.
Say, I recognize you now. Where's the Mandalorian?
No. Someone else I am.
Hey, don't get peeved. I'm not afraid of you.
You will be. You will be.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm afraid.
Oh, God. That is terrifying. Oh, I always thought that part was creepy when Yoda said, you will be.
You will be.
But I had to enhance it a little bit for the new generation. Come on, they're not as scared as we used to be by little things in the 70s and 80s. Or maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe we're more scared nowadays. But that's why we are revisiting the fear topic. But we're going to also revisit it from another angle, and kind of like how you can balance it out and push through it, and what fear kind of holds you back from and what it makes you do. It's kind of sinister in a way. It creeps in through the cracks in different ways. It is one of those things that is a little nefarious because, like Yoda said at the beginning, fear does lead to anger, and anger does lead to hatred, and hate does lead to suffering. So, it's one of those things where if you get in your own mind enough, if you fear something long enough and hard enough, and it keeps you from doing certain things, it keeps you from taking action on certain things in your art career or whatever, then you are going to start to feel anger about that. You're going to start to see other people doing things that you couldn't do, and then you're going to start to hate them, and then that's going to lead to suffering. So it's very true what it all says. See, it's all coming full circle, people. It's all coming full circle, people. Yeah, I don't know who that was, Brian Regan or a little bit of Bill Burr popped in there. So anyway, I don't know what's going on today. Too much caffeine maybe. But I want to dissect fear a tiny bit for us here, because it's one of those things where if you can understand what's going on in your mind and what's going on in your actions, you can then have the ability to witness those things and change them. Sometimes it's not all about just do this one action and then you're going to fix everything and everything's going to fall into place. Sometimes it's about learning and understanding the mechanisms in your own head and in your own practice. Fear is one of those things where, it creeps up on you and it can make you a bitter artist later. Like I said, if you start holding yourself back too much, and then you start making excuses, and then you see other people doing it, you start getting jealous at them. Maybe you even start, resenting them. Maybe you even start hating other people, or maybe you start, feeling badly about galleries or a certain person who's, one of the gatekeepers, and you start thinking, oh, they're just doing this to me, or they're pushing me out, or they're keeping me out, or, I can't get on this art marketplace, or, I would try to get in this gallery, but they don't accept artists like me, or they don't take art like mine, or so on and so forth. All the mind games that you play with yourself, those things start to kind of creep in, and then you hold yourself back even more. And then you become a bitter artist and one of those people who just can't find joy in what you do anymore. And you also can't find joy in the things other people do anymore. You can't genuinely appreciate something somebody else is doing. So then you can't be inspired by that person. And then you can't create and inspire other people. And you can't feel good for other people and enjoy and celebrate their success. And therefore, in turn, you can't have your own success and celebrate your own success. It's just a very vicious downward spiral that you get into. And it all starts with fear. It all starts with the fear, lads and lasses. No, it does. It starts with fear. And it's one of those things where, that's when pushing through fear does become important. And that's one thing that I want to impress upon you today and kind of challenge you to do, which is find something in your life. It doesn't even have to be art related. Something that's holding you back the most in life. Obviously, if it's art related, that's great too. You can kill two birds with one stone. But a lot of times they kind of overlap. So find something in your life or in your art career that's really been an obstacle for you. And it's been an obstacle because you've really been afraid of it. You've been afraid of tackling it. Maybe it's been, approaching that gallery that you really want to get into. Maybe it's, being afraid to put yourself out there in an exhibition or an art fair and actually be present and talk to collectors and just put yourself out there and start talking about your story. Maybe it's you're afraid to do something stupid like a reel on Instagram, or, you've been really wanting to start a YouTube page or TikTok. I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but whatever. It can be a good tool and resource. Maybe you've been wanting to do that really badly to reach a different audience, and you're just afraid to do it in that way. You're afraid to put yourself out there. Well, find whatever that thing is. It can be something large. It can be something small. It can be, as simple as you're afraid to get on a Zoom meeting. Like we have Zoom openings on Shockbox, for example, and people come there and some people are really afraid to talk, but we create kind of a safe, community, or we try to at least. And, sometimes people, you see them, they're afraid, but then they see other people talking and you see the reception, you see other people commenting on it and going, oh, that's wonderful, and asking more questions. And people kind of get the courage up and you see them talk and you see the fear kind of melt away, or at least it appears to melt away. But it's a muscle just like anything else. If you can push through and force yourself to get through that fear, on the other side is something positive. Maybe you get some new collectors from it. Maybe you get some new admirers. Maybe you get some new Instagram followers from it just because you showed up at the Zoom opening and you talked and you didn't want to talk, but you made yourself talk.
Okay, well, today I'd like to talk to you about raising your energy levels to get into a peak performance state. You gotta be shitting me.
Oh, sorry, my bad. That's my phone. Hang on a second. Let me just answer this for a second. Hello, Mumford residence.
You can't pay me enough for this crap.
No, he doesn't live here anymore. You have the wrong number. Thank you. All right, I'm back. Tony? Where'd he go? Whatever. I'll see what's on TV.
Well, there you have it. A $1 million coaching session with Tony Robbins down the drain. All because you couldn't focus. Well, Tony Robbins can only mean one thing, right? We're going to be talking about mindset because, look, let's get down to it. Mindset is everything. You could say energy is everything. You could say focus is everything. You could say hard work is everything. But really, when it comes down to it, it's all about your mindset and your belief in yourself. Because a lot of times you really are your worst enemy because you can't see what you're doing wrong. And sometimes you are just your worst enemy because you let all of your programming and hangups and bullshit get in your own way. I know I do that. A lot of times I hold myself back by being too much of a people pleaser, or I hold myself back by having too much anxiety, or I hold myself back by caring too much about the outcome. What are people going to think about this? Or, the inner critic, a lot of those things. You could name any number of them. Self-sabotage or even imposter syndrome. All of these things can hold you back. And yes, we can talk about like the Tony Robbins thing at the beginning, working yourself up into a high energetic state and, acting from that level or working from that level. That's all great. But if you don't believe in yourself, or if you don't really have a good inner compass, then that is only going to take you so far. So today, we're going to give you a little short episode and really just a little trick, a little self-hack that you can apply to your life, one that kind of helps you to step outside of your body and see things from a different perspective and also act from a place of power. You might have heard of power animals, and this is kind of similar, but I would go even further to label these as your own alter ego or like your own inner hero even. That's more accurate, I think. And this is great because it's one of those things that you can always stop and do. The title of this is WWDBD. You probably heard of the WWJD. What would Jesus do? That's kind of a play on that. Mine is, what would David Bowie do? Because he's one of my heroes, as you know, if you've listened to this podcast at all. But you can find your own. It could be Frida Kahlo. It could be George O'Keeffe. It could be Marina Abramovitz. It could be Pablo Picasso. It could be Billie Eilish, although she's pretty young. I like to go with somebody who's been around for a while and who's been around in a lot of different genres and really has been tried and true as an artist and tested in many different ways for many different decades. But you can choose whoever really speaks to you, somebody that you get a lot of power and strength from and inspiration. Because for me, it's one of those things where I have a very strong belief in my work. I have a very strong belief in what I've done, and I've accomplished a lot in my career, but we all have that imposter syndrome from time to time. We all have that kind of like, oh man, am I really good enough? Or, just self-doubt or self-sabotage. It comes up from time to time because let's face it, it's hard to be an artist and it's hard to be putting yourself out there all the time. And sometimes the criticism and sometimes the inner criticism and sometimes the failure or rejection gets to you and it gets under your skin. If it happens enough, if you're having a bad day, if you're having a bad month, or you're in a funk, or you've got a writer's block or a painter's block or sculptor's block, whatever you want to call it, creative block, then yeah, this can get to you. It can start to get under your skin and start to make you feel bad. So this is just one of those things that you can reach for, that you can kind of keep in your back pocket. I'll give you a couple examples. For one, let's say I'm going to a gallery opening, a place I've never shown my work in before. And maybe it's a pretty good gallery. Maybe it's even a blue chip gallery. Maybe it's just a gallery that's in a great area of town that has a really wonderful clientele, that has a lot of big collectors, and you're freaked out. Maybe it's just your first show. Who knows? But you're going into a gallery situation where you're feeling a little timid, or you're feeling a little down on yourself, or you're feeling like, oh man, maybe I don't belong here. I would always think like, okay, I'll just go and keep to myself and stick by my work or whatever. Or, maybe the tendency is to go in and start talking a lot because you have this nervous energy. So you just start blabbering. I like to reach into the back pocket and just picture a David Bowie character. I always talk about David Bowie as being my power animal. When I conjure him up so vividly that I can kind of like adopt that and internalize it. Like, what would he do if in this situation? What would he do if he was going to a gallery? Would he be like blabbering, or would he be a wallflower? No, he'd probably be somewhere in between. He would go in with confidence. He would go in with poise, emanating obvious cool, like he was such a badass and, very well respected by a lot of people. So you go in with that kind of feeling. You don't have to go in and be timid. You don't have to go in and start chatting everybody up. You just go in with this presence of being rooted in your own self and walk in like you deserve to be there, because you do deserve to be there, because your work is in there. Your work was chosen. Therefore, you deserve to be there. You know what you've done. You know what you've been through to get to this point. You know all the hours and nights and weekends and everything that you've put into this to get to this place. So just conjure this person up. Like I said, maybe it's Cher. Who knows? Maybe it's Alanis Morissette, whatever. I'm just coming up with people off the top of my head. But whoever this person is for you, find that essence and internalize it and go, yeah, that's right. I can sink into and adopt that kind of energy that'll root me in this moment. It'll make me feel more present and more tuned into the energy that I want to be portraying and embodying when I go into this situation.
These thoughts are keeping me up. I can't get them out of my mind. Oh, God, where did you come from?
You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
Wow, that's actually pretty profound. But I just can't get these people are trying to bring me down, and I can't get it out of my mind.
Remember, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth.
Wow, this is kind of helping me. Wait a minute. Aren't you Marcus Aurelius?
Who?
Come on. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, sorry I interrupted. Keep making me feel better. Don't let me stop ya.
All right, then. Remember, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts.
Ain't that the truth? Alright, I'm ready for my day.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.